back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another First Division review show. We had obviously 5 fixtures last Friday, 4 on Friday, sorry, and 1 on Saturday. Delighted to be welcomed by Sean. Sean, what's the crack?
Going well enough considering the circumstances. I managed to compose myself in time.
We'll get on to that one later. But Kerry FC, Treaty United, Kerry FC 1, I should say, Treaty United 1. Kennedy putting Kerry in front, Enda Curran scoring his first goal of the season, equalising. Andy Quad was sent off after 60 minutes as well for Kerry. But yeah, Kerry picking up their first point of League of Ireland football ever. A lot of things are going to be first in the first few weeks of them, but sending off with 30 minutes to go, so Treaty should be disappointed they didn't go on and win the game. But Kerry would be happy to get off the board, really, I think, in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think 1-1 is a fair result considering everything in the sending off. I think before the sending off, Kerry would have been disappointed because they were on top for a lot of the first half, and it was very good for them to get the goal and to have that spell and get the crowd behind them. But disappointing then for them to get Quaid sent off, and at that point then from when the sending off occurred. It was really all Treaty, so they would have taken the point considering the circumstances.
Yeah, Treaty are on 1 point and Kerry FC are on 1 point as well. So I suppose Treaty be relatively disappointed with the start they've had overall, won't they? I mean, they haven't conceded goals really. Like, conceded a goal in every game, literally. But we were saying where the goal is going to come from if Curran isn't scoring them. Of course, Curran gets 1 goal there, and the creativity in that. And that could be a problem for the most of the season. So they're going to have to be very stingy at the back, aren't they, to pick up points, really?
Yeah, and it was important for them to get a point, even a point this week.
Yeah.
As I said, they could have got 3 points. Maybe they would be a little bit disappointed that they couldn't find the breakthrough for the winner. But I think it was important for them to get off the mark this week, especially with the poor start they've had to the season.
Yeah, definitely. It finished Wexford 3, Athlone 0 at Ferry Park, and big win for Wexford, badly needed, having lost their first 2 games. Athlone obviously had won their first 2 games, so a massive, massive result. We don't really know how good Athlone are. We said that before, but to get the 2 wins, brilliant the first 2 games. But obviously they got a bit of a trim in here. Dobbs with 1, and Robinson with 2 goals in the second half for Wexford. You'd expect Wexford maybe to kick on a bit after that result as well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. With the players they have, it was really surprising that they had such a bad start to the season. But this could be the result for them that kicks them on, and conversely, it could be the result that sends Athlone sort of back to earth. Now, Aaron Robinson, from what we can gather, is clearly the man of the match. We kind of knew that he was going to be a good player for Wexford, especially with his performances for Longford last season. And Aaron Dobbs, it was important that Wexford held on to him from last season, and we're starting to see that now. I do think this is going to be the push that Wexford need, because with the players they have, and they brought in Keane Corbally in the meantime from the start of the season. So they've added to the squad, they've strengthened. There's rumours that Sam Verdon could be on his way as well, having left Longford. So I do think this is really going to be the push that Wexford need. Athlone, they'll be disappointed to lose in such an emphatic fashion, I think, with the start of the season. Maybe there was a bit of hubris got in that they started thinking they were better than they were. The fortunate thing for Athlone is that they have a nice easy home game next week, so they could get back on track.
Who knows? Yeah, finished up in Ballybuffet. Finn Harps 1, Bray Wanderers 1, and Finn Harps' first point of the season. Bray in second place in 7. I think Bray overall would take that. Flood gave Finn Harps the lead, and Harry Groom equalising on 30 minutes. But from talking to Keith Ryan, who wasn't on the show today, but this one, Bray found it difficult to actually get into the game. The pitch wasn't in the best condition, difficult pitch to play on. They tried to play. Harps, from his point of view, didn't play that great in the game. So if that's the case, I suppose it's a good point for Harps. And even at that, I think it's a decent point in the road for Bray. It all comes into context. Like, they won the first 2 matches, so you get a draw up in Donegal, then 7 points, 3 games. You have to be happy enough with that from Bray's perspective anyway. And maybe even from Harps to a degree, just to get off the board again. Everyone's off the board now, actually, this week as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good for Harps to get off the board. I thought, considering the opposition and how they started the season, it was a good game for them to score so early on and to play the home pitch. Look, it's a different style of play that Harps are using. It's not ollie ball anymore, but it is still an advantage for them that they're playing on it so often. The other teams like Bray have on Friday found us difficult to play on, and especially as well, it's a very long trip up to Ballybuffet. Speaking of which, Bray fan Owen Ellis, that was a really interesting story, and Dave Rogers paid for his ticket and I think soup and stuff. So that was an interesting story. hope the match was worth it. I didn't see what the quality of the game was like, but hope it was worth it. Yeah, I think, to be fair, even though Bray have had a really good start to the season, and they're probably better than Harps, and better enough to beat them, I think they will take a draw here, and I don't think they can have much complaints, because it's always a tough place to go.
Yeah, I mean, from Finn Harps' point of view as well, it's you talked about Ollie Ball there, and it often gets a lot of criticism, but let's be real, in general, it worked well for them, and if results, I know it's a transitional period, I get that completely, but it's a results business as well. If they're not picking up results, there might be one or two people looking for Ollie Ball back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think it can produce results, this style of play. I think Rogers does have a very definite idea about the way he wants to play, and that was always going to take time to introduce. This is an important result for him. If they'd have lost today, or if they'd lost on Friday, he would have been in trouble. He'd been under pressure. But this is an important result for them, and it could be a defining one in these early weeks of the season.
Absolutely. It finished on Saturday before we get into the final game. Longford 10-0, Cobh Ramblers 0. Move on. No, but look, this is a good point on the road for Cobh. Obviously, Longford picked up a very good point previously against Waterford, and they might have been targeting this game to get their first win of the season. It didn't happen. Cobh had some good results, a very good win at home to Wexford. So for them to go to Longford and get a point, I'd say they'd be probably the more satisfied of both teams there, wouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and they had a goal ruled out for offside there in additional time, so they could have won it. Now Hegarty was fairly clearly offside, but they were slightly on top. I think Longford showed that they were similar. That showed that they had in the start of the season that they're limited. It's a young team getting to know each other, getting their first taste of senior football. So there's a bit of limitations there, but Cobh will be delighted to get the point. It continues their great start to the season.
7 points after 3 games, yeah.
7 points after 3 games. They're second, or joint second anyway.
Second, Bray, yeah.
But they're having a really great start to the season, and it doesn't appear to be a fluke. This is a good point for them. These long trips to Longford and then to Finn Harps, you want to pick up any point you can get, and they've done that. And as I said, they were unlucky there not to pick up the 3 points, but. It's really it shows that this is a massively improved Cobh side, and no one's going to look forward to playing them.
Yeah, I mean, Longford feel like they're in transition a little bit as well with the new manager in. Henderson is there, a lot of changes at that club as well, and maybe a little bit like Wexford in a sense, like new manager, a lot of changes. They're taking their while to get into it as well. Maybe they haven't quite got the quality Wexford have, although they made some really good signings, like A. Dervin's there, Stephen Meany's there. The guy I can't pronounce, which Rovers is there as well. So, it's going to take time for Longford as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it will, of course. Remains to be seen. This is a bit more difficult to predict for Longford because I mean, I didn't know a lot about many of the players. There's a few key pieces there that you could say would help them. Sardeniak, Dervin, Meany. There's a few players that you'd say, you know about, but it's majority young fellas like Jamal Ibrahim and Francis Campbell that, good repertoire for underage Dublin teams, but it's still a massive step up. No matter what way you look at it, it's a massive step up to go to senior football. So it's really just, it could go either way. It could blow up by week 15 or they could be flying in 5 weeks' time. So there's still a lot to be seen from Longford.
Absolutely, and the big match of the weekend finished Waterford FC 0, Galway United 1, and again, a defender, Gordon. Only defenders have scored this season for Galway. I think that's Gordon's third goal this season, isn't it? I think it is. He's got 3.
Yeah, he scored twice against Finn Harps.
Yeah, he's got 3, and obviously Rob's 7 with the other one. So set pieces, corners, all of the Trek Galway. They're on 9 points. Waterford on 4 points. I suppose first of all, you were at the game. We were to talk about the Waterford performance and how you felt it went down.
Yeah, I mean, well, the only thing is I have a lot to say about the Waterford performance because Galway sort of played the way Galway always played. Yeah. They scored the goal and then there was a lot of time wasting going on. Ollie Horgan got booked actually, and but Yeah, there was of course Spygate going on during the week. Apparently, they had a spy down at Setu, and they were trying to gauge the way we play. Now, I don't really know what they could have learned from
That's
watching
what I
us
was
play.
thinking as well.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it was really bad. It was really bad. I mean, I actually forgot my season ticket on the way in. I left it at home, and anyway, they were able to look up my season ticket number. Anyway, I got in. It was no problem. I should have stayed at home. Really, that's what I should have done.
That was a bad sign, a bad
It
omen, isn't it?
was it was really it was the worst performance I've seen under Danny Searle. Like it goes back to even before Ian Morris. It goes back to the days of Sheedy and Newell with the level of discontent. I mean, some of the players don't look happy to be out there, to be honest with you. I mean, it looked like a really unhappy camp. There was players having a go at each other on the pitch. It was disastrous. But the only difference is, at least then, you sort of knew where you were because you signed players that probably weren't good enough to keep you up in the Premier Division. This is a squad that's really capable of winning the First Division, and Premier Division can't do that. And the promise is that, well, you can't promise victory, but you can promise that you're going to be competitive at least. We're already 5 points behind Galway. We're 3 points behind Cobh. This is a disaster. Like for us to catch up to Galway now is assuming even Galway slip up. That's at least a 10 to 12 game swing for us to even catch up to them. I mean, the performance was awful. It was so Route One. I don't understand what he's thinking. This team selection is just bizarre.
Was Wasim up front, yeah?
He was, yeah. Again, Thomas Alua, in my opinion, has shown a lot more up front in to the Galway defence, which, to be fair, Wasim would offer more because he's bigger, but he doesn't put himself about enough. I mean,
I see Wasim more as a goal poacher, if I'm honest with you.
Well, yeah, he doesn't do that either. I mean, I don't know what he's offering at the moment. He's really having a bad patch of form.
Yeah.
The player, it appears to me he doesn't know his best team. The thinking should have been that this is a team that if he'd have had this team from the start of the season last season, I think they would have won the First Division. So what you're doing then is saying, okay, well, what small improvements can I make to this team? You're missing Junior, you're missing Phoenix, you're just replacing what you have to replace. I don't understand why the midfield is so different. You've got 3 midfielders there. Only one of them was there last season. And you're basically having players that haven't played with each other before.
How many of them are on loan, actually?
2.
2?
2, yeah.
I think that could be a problem. I think there might be conditions that they have to play because
absolutely. I mean,
this is a problem.
Andy Piley was at the game, actually, as well as John Walters. Andy Piley, I actually caught him at the full-time whistle, and he just sort of went,
yeah,
haven't seen that performance. If Fleetwood are serious about ambitions of having us playing in the Premier Division and giving their players the best chance to test themselves at a decent level, there is no way they can be serious about the conditions that those two must play. There's absolutely no way they.
I think in general players need to. You can't come over and say it does happen, but I don't like it either that they must play. You play if you perform well. If you don't perform well, you won't play. Well. And then there's this content with other players like O'Keefe maybe and Griffin and players like that who perform fairly well, to say the least, for Waterford and know what it's all about. So you've got that dynamic going on as well. And, it's up to Danny, to say, look, I don't care what the conditions are. If they're not playing well, I'm dropping them.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that could be the case is that there is no obligation, but Danny himself feels obligated to play, which would be even more damning because it would say a lot about his managerial ability.
Yeah.
I mean, the only players he should feel obligated to play are the ones who deserve a place in the team. And the players that we put on, Con Clark came off, and it's actually, some people cheered her coming off. Now, I think that was a bit harsh, but that says a lot about how people feel about him.
Yeah.
But Ronan Coughlin came on, a striker, and played in the right wing position, and he was better. So that to me says that every player, as far as I'm concerned, every player who came off the bench did better than the player who was starting in their position.
And also, I think some of these players from abroad often take time to actually get used to the league and how it works.
Absolutely.
And all that kind of stuff. And that's what happens as well, I find, and even in the Premier Division, the exact same.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you do in that situation, you're learning new tactics, you have new teammates, you can blood them into the team. And we're in a fortunate position that we have enough retention. We can afford to do that. We can blood players into the team And, maybe 5 weeks' time, we're a settled team. We've got players that know each other and know what they're doing, and we're golden. But, it's really bizarre that he's just throwing these players into the first team with and refusing to substitute them when they're clearly performing subpar. One thing I will say as well, there was no fight in that team. I mean, you should when you're up against Galway, you should really they're gonna fight you. The only player, in fairness to him, who gave it back was Barry Bagley. I mean, I don't think he had a good game, but at least he was trying. It seems like nobody really cares anymore. It seems like there's so much that we don't know going on in the dressing room that is feeding into this, because it looked like, as I said before, the players are fighting with each other on the pitch. It looks like they're not happy together. I mean, and we've got to go with Athlone. We don't know a lot about Athlone, but it's very realistic that if Athlone or anything like they played in the first 2 games of the season, that they could take points off us. And if that happens, I mean, you'd have to seriously consider changing the manager at that point.
Pressure's on. Yeah, from Galway's point of view, I suppose they've 9 points from the first 3 games. I mean, it has to be said, they haven't really performed brilliantly, I'd say, in the games. So that's a good position for them to be in. How did you see them overall in this game?
Well, I think, that's part of it. Is they're not brilliant, but they're very effective at what they do. We knew what Galway were going to be like heading into the season, and it's not pretty. I'd say if you're a Galway fan, it'd be absolute torture to watch, but it's very effective at getting results, especially at this level where they've got a team that's been together for a number of years at this point, and they know what they do. Everybody knows what their job is on the pitch. They were so well organized. We didn't, I mean, we didn't threaten until the final 10 minutes. We tried to play the long ball against them, which was really bizarre because Galway do the long ball better than anybody.
Not only like that, but they can deal with the long ball better than
anybody. Oh yeah, they're bigger than they were bigger than us. They were stronger than us. They were more hungry than us to get to every ball. There was a lot of times, actually, I don't think they would have beaten us by more than 1-0. They had one chance there. I think it was Ed McCarthy got the ball, and he could have taken it on and had a shot on goal, but he stood on it and took it away from himself. But they wouldn't have hammered us, but it was still like a very decisive victory. There was no way you could dispute that they deserved to win. They did a lot of time wasting, a lot of winding up, but that's what you can't give out about that. We allowed them to play like that, so it's certainly very concerning for us. I mean, Galway, if they do play like this for a long time, the only worry would be the teams would figure out weaknesses, like what happened last season, that they'd figure out how to exploit certain weaknesses within the Galway team.
They will have to try and score goals, from defenders and set pieces as well, because although that can be a weapon, that will dry up a little bit as well. So they're going to have to find other ways as well in games.
Yeah, I think they've yet to play Bray. They've yet to play Wexford. They did have a bit of a game against Harps, all right. But they have a few games to play that will really be a test for them, and I do think they're capable of winning those games. But it will be interesting to see how they get on.
Yeah, definitely. The league table is Galway on 9 points, Bray on 7, Cobh on 7, Athlone 6, Waterford 4, Wexford 3, Longford 2. They're yet to win, as are Treaty, Finn Harps and Kerry all on 1 point. We'll leave it there. Thanks, Sean, for coming on. Viewers at home, let us know what you thought in the comments. What games were you at? What games did you see? Your thoughts on any of the teams, how they performed so far. Subscribe, hit your bell notification button. Thanks for watching. Cheers, Sean.
Cheers, Keith.